So someone built 18 months rebuilding their trading platform in Rust, and apparently they are filled with regret. So I was reading this article, and it was a pretty interesting article to read. It was a developer sharing their concerns, how difficult it was dealing with Rust. And I have never tried Rust in my life. I have just read about it. I have some developer friends who work with Rust, and I remember, like, right now there is this huge boom in memory safe languages, no null pointer exceptions and what all, and like anti C++. But it's always funny because no one language can fulfill all your needs, and this article just shows that. So this person says that they thought Rust was the perfect language, and let me zoom in a little bit. Rust was a perfect language, and in Stack Overflow, it was always number one. And to be honest, I've also witnessed that. Like, if you go in Stack Overflow, Rust will always be number one. And moreover, if you look at the current jobs, you will see that there are suddenly a lot of openings for Rust languages. So it's normal to think that let's learn Rust, let's be a Rust programmer. But let's go on. So they say that they had their article written TypeScript, and then they started rewriting entirely in Rust. I haven't checked out their repo, but anyone can if they're interested. Um, so let's see. So apparently they gave Rust a neutral rating before, and they said they'll take that back. So let's read on. So they wrote some Reddit posts, and looks like they found some criticism on Reddit. Reddit is always a hit or miss. Sometimes you find a lot of friendly people, sometimes you don't. So that's fine. But apparently the author thinks that this language is absolutely, like, it sucks. So let's see what's the problem. By the way, this is funny. The Rust mascot is a crab, get it? Because it's crappy. And again, I don't have any, like, opinion about Rust because I've never coded in it, but it's always good to know what others think. So this is a screenshot that the author attached, and me coming from a C++C background, this looks pretty ugly. Like, if you look at this function declaration or something like that on the top, I think, because it's strongly typed, yeah, it's not at all clear to me what's happening. So in that sense, it's not good. Yeah, I don't like it looking at this screenshot, to be honest. I understand it might be doing something complicated, but still it still needs to be simpler, and easy to comprehend. So that's fine. Let's move on forward. So they say that there's certain things where if you don't have access to an extremely powerful large language model, that writing the function become literally impossible. I don't want to spend 90 minutes figuring out the where clause in my run transaction function. What people claim as Rust's biggest strength is one of Rust's biggest flaws. So apparently, Rust has such a strong checks all around that it's very difficult to make your code compile. I'm assuming the author had a lot of large code base, and that's always a problem, especially with these languages that apparently do everything for you. It's very difficult to satisfy those compilers. So I can understand where the author is coming from. and like they just ended up saying, just give me a garbage collector and let me do what I want to do. That's basically um, like very anti-Rust, I think. But yeah, that's very, I think, C++, like modern C++. So if you look at the modern C++, we have like a kind of a garbage collector in smart pointers. Gosh, the text is so. I do. Yeah, let me see. Okay, so I think in C++, I wouldn't say there's a garbage collector, but there is sort of garbage collector called smart pointers, and I think recently I've been using them a lot, and as everyone who's using modern C++ should. And they give you the flexibility as well as the speed to do whatever you want to do. And in smart pointers, you have shared pointers, which have shared ownership, and you also have unique pointers. And there is another third kind of pointers, which is weak pointers. That's there to avoid cyclic dependency. So these are the three main pointers. Most of the time, using a shared and unique pointer should suffice. But I was recently working on a project in which I had to use weak pointers. I don't know if I updated it. Let's see. Yeah, so you see they're weak pointers, and there's a good reason to use it if you need it, but for the most of the time you don't. And apparently it seems Rust has good error handling, but whenever there is an error, it's very difficult to figure out because there are no stack traces. Maybe this is some compiler flag that you have to activate for that. And yeah, there is a crabby community. I've understood that every programming community are very one-sided. Like if you write a code that is very anti-Pythonic way of writing code, the Python community will come after you. And similarly, it seems the same for Rust, and I think for every language there is. So I don't see it's just related to Rust. So this is for any other language. And the final words is that if we compare it to C++, it's obviously the better language, but when compared with the languages like code safety, to me is more of a detriment. I've never coded in Go, so I don't know, but yeah, I would rather my application take a few dozen milliseconds longer to run if that means my development time is cut in half. And that's always an argument that people make against lower level languages like C++ or here Rust, that developer time also matters. It's not the final execution time. So if the developer is spending thrice or four times the time to develop an application, what's the point? And I kind of agree with that. So it was a good article to read, and I hope you guys enjoyed it also. And yeah, please subscribe and like if you like these kind of videos, and I would love to make more of such videos, probably delve deep into more articles, more technical articles, even my own code base. So yeah.